Ever wonder what happened to all of the hype beasts? Clad head to toe in designer labels from Supreme to Palace to Fear of God. Once the kings of clout, the gods of drip, the gatekeepers of cool, Hypebeast dominated streetwear for almost a decade. From drops that broke the internet to people camping outside of stores for days on end, there seemed to be no end to the phenomenon washing over the culture. However, recently it's been feeling like the vibe is kind of falling off. And we've all been left wondering, is Hypebeast culture dead? Let's discuss. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the rise and fall of the Hypebeast era, from culture to commodity. But before we get started, please don't forget to take a second to hit all of the buttons that help us out as a channel. Also, don't forget to stop by our website and check out some of the inventory. We've got hundreds of pieces in stock, including original works for many of the brands that we'll be talking about today. There's truly something there for everybody. But with all that being said, let's dive into the story. Hypebeast. It's basically a term used to describe someone who buys into culture trends with an avid obsession, mainly to make a social statement or symbolize their status through their clothes. The word hypebeast was originally a slang insult used in online sneaker forums like Nike Talk and ISS to describe people who cared more about the hype or popularity of a product than they did the actual design or story behind it. They bought limited edition sneakers or clothes solely for the status or resale value. The term was arguably coined by Kevin Ma in 2005 when he launched the website hypebeast.com, a streetwear blog that was originally centered around community for niche fashion subculture. A streetwear blog that was originally created around the community of a niche fashion subculture. Ironically, the website helped popularize the term on a global scale, eventually softening the negative connotation and embracing it as part of fashion culture overall. We've covered several times in other videos about how the early 2000s and 2010s was the golden era for the streetwear genre. At the time, it was more like a big club that only those in the know were in on. Sleuthing online, hunting in boutiques. It was like a game. The thrill was in the chase as much as it was the look itself. Without rehashing everything all over again, suffice to say, it was a great time to be alive. Streetwear was in its purest form, rebellious, creative DIY in a way that hadn't been seen until then. The barrier for entry was pretty low, which was both good and bad in certain instances. On the one hand, anybody with an idea and graphic ability could launch their own streetwear line. Sure, now, did it result in some uninspired, cheap attempts? Yeah, it did. But it also gave us a lot of gems at the same time. Many of the best streetwear brands ever, in my opinion, came out in this period. Streetwear wasn't just a look, it was a lifestyle. At the time, it was still pretty niche, a mix of skate, hip-hop, and Japanese fashion influences. Supreme was just a cool downtown New York skate brand, but then celebrity happened. Enter Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, A$AP Rocky. Suddenly, streetwear wasn't just a subculture, it was the culture. Yeezy turned sneaker releases into spectacles. Supreme's collab with Louis Vuitton and North Face broke resale markets, and Off-White's Virgil Abloh blurred lines between luxury and street style. Speaking of resale markets, yeah, sure, they did exist prior to the Hypebeast era, but this period of time turned them into a multi-million-dollar industry. By the late 2010s, Hypebeast culture was everywhere. From rap lyrics to runway shows, to your cousin who never really cared about shoes before, now owning 5 pairs of exclusive sneakers. Instagram and YouTube poured gasoline on the fire. Fit pics, unboxing, drop recaps, algorithms rewarded flexing, and the brands fed the beast. Reselling exploded at this point in time. All of a sudden, buying wasn't even about wearing anymore. It was about flipping. Sneakers were now an asset class, and bots beat humans to every drop. Flex culture wasn't just alive, it was eating everything. However, with every drop, things began to change more and more. More bots, higher prices, less originality. Hype became a machine. And like all machines, at some point, they burn out. First, the resale market crashed. Drops became so oversaturated that brands were milking collabs until they weren't even special anymore. Suddenly, it wasn't cool, it was just more corporate stuff. By 2020, Hypebeast Culture had become a parody of itself. Supreme was dropping literal bricks. I bought one. And they had luggage that was reselling for almost $100,000 a piece. People were flexing $500 shoes while living in their parents' basement. The formula had become obvious and played out. A new wave of youth started mocking the hype. Oversized logos? Nah. Try clean lines. Logo flexing? Nah. Try vintage Levi's and New Balance. Hype had lost its magic. It didn't feel rare anymore. It just felt forced. What started as culture got eaten by capitalism. Hype was no longer earned. It was manufactured and bought at exorbitant prices. After all, if everything is limited, then nothing really is, right? And when hype becomes mainstream, the core culture disappears. The rebels have become the regulated. It got so bad that sneaker resale shops were charging upwards of $350 for Panda Dunks, or hundreds of dollars for a box logo tee. In hindsight, it was always unsustainable. Ask any OG. The soul of the original streetwear era was in the scarcity, the struggle, the story, not the resale price. But today, in the ashes of the Hypebeast era, something new is growing. People want authenticity. They want the story again. They want sustainability. Trends like Gorpcore, quiet luxury, and vintage hunting aren't just anti-hype, they're anti-BS. So you might be asking yourself, what's the new flex then? Making your own, supporting local, and wearing what actually feels like you. Not what a brand tells you to. The internet flipped. People stopped chasing drops and started chasing authenticity. The pendulum is swinging hard in the other direction. So is Hypebeast culture dead? Not exactly. Streetwear's DNA is still alive and well. But the era of buying for the flex, that is fading. The new wave is about community again, creative pairing and taste. Less hype, more substance. Arguably, many of the tenets that streetwear was originally built off of all of those years ago. The Hypebeast era didn't die per se, it's evolving. And like every cultural wave, it burned bright, burned fast, and is leaving behind something new. But what do you think? Did corporate culture contribute to the death of the Hypebeast era? Do you miss it? Are you glad that we're on to something new? Hit us in the comment section and let us know. Also, if you made it all the way to the end and you enjoy videos like this, then we hope you already hit the like button. Liking and sharing these videos is the only way to get the YouTube algorithms to notice smaller channels like ours continue to grow. Also, if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That way you can be reminded when each new video is released. With all that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.